Hello and welcome to what really is a one-off concept. The Danganronpa 3 anime is underway with its first week of episodes being completed. I don't normally review or, do anime videos at all, let alone review them, but this is Danganronpa 3, and it's not a game! How else can I cover it? Now, I don't want to just post a ton of videos willy-nilly while I do this too, so this is what you can expect of me for this. First, I'm going to talk about my initial impressions in this video and introduce you to how I'm going to cover it. Once the anime is done, I'm going to make two videos. One will be a compilation of my reactions and theories to the 20-something episodes that we have on queue. I'm currently making some casual recordings of these reactions after each episode airs. Those will be very straightforward, not very edited, not very scripted, that sort of thing. The other will be just a general review to sum up and give my closing thoughts on Danganronpa 3 as a whole. Thrilling stuff, eh? Now, let's get to the meat of the issue. The shows themselves. Yeah, shows. Danganronpa 3 is two animes on their own. One is titled The Future Side, and one called The Despair Side. And before they have a second season where they come together for the Hope Side segment. The premise is relatively simple. Well, the starting point is simple. This is a sequel to Danganronpa 2. It's entirely a sequel to Danganronpa 2, too. So make sure you know that story before engaging in this. The first side to air was The Future Side, where Makoto and the gang return to face the consequences of their actions from Danganronpa 2. The second side is The Despair Side. This is the prequel to Danganronpa 2 that tells the story of the cast's descent into despair. So far, it's quite good. Both still have a lot of questions to answer, though. Future Side is good and really feels like classic Danganronpa with its setup of the new killing game with Monokuma and all. But at the same time, it does feel like a bit of a tired plot point. I'm not sold on it having the merit to go that route again, honestly. The inclusion of the Despair Side almost feels like an apology for returning to that trope again. I mean, they're not even doing this as a game, yet they fell back into that plot again. I mean, the Despair Side feels more promising and takes a story we know with some new ripples in it. At the moment, it's just that though, a story we know with some confusing ripples set on that plate. I will note that it's actually quite interesting how each series matches the more distinct tone set by each game. Future Side is more like Trigger Happy Havoc. The only way really to cut the tension being a butter knife. Despair Side is much more lighthearted. You know shit's gonna hit the fan and ruin the bliss of everyone's existence later on, but Goodbye Despair always worked off contrast and disruption of that tone. You can also see this tone more exemplified in the art and music. The openings and endings, which are great by the way. Despair Side OP is so good. Right. They are great examples of this. In general, the art seems it seems like it's done quite well. I don't know if I've seen any examples of quality. Quality. Not that much has happened in either series so far to open up the possibility of art issues, but it's good to see a strong first episodes. The music, I don't actually remember the music that well. The OPs and EDs, I do remember them, those were quite good. But the music, I think it either wasn't much music or it wasn't very memorable. I'm not sure. I will note that I think Future Side is already suffering from the same problems that the original adaptation of the first game had. Basically, the problems of too many new characters and a whole lot of the mystery just being swept away by the fact that they need to focus on what's important to the next mystery. I mean, they introduced a lot of new characters. These are the alumni from Hope Speak that created the Future Foundation to begin with. As interesting as they seem, they are introduced so quickly that I have no idea what almost any of their names or skills are. There's just like two new ones they even focused on, and one of them ends up getting killed because, of course, again, they have to focus on the important characters that actually are relevant to the plot coming up. Because you have to focus on the person who's about to be killed, and then you have the one other new guy who seems like the main character, the protagonist of the alumni class, and that's about all we have so far, which is unfortunate because I don't like the direction that's going. But at the same time, you also have to think about why this had to be an anime. One side has a new killing game, and there are already some minor connections popping up between the two series. I can't help but think that the reason this is an anime over a game is the connection between the two series, as in, you better be watching both if you want the full story. I cannot imagine them not doing this at this point. It seems pointless to do what they're doing otherwise. In the end, I think Despair Side is going to be a treat. I think it's a sort of a fan servicing sort of thing. You know where it's going. It kept me smiling all the way through. Future Side has a lot more to prove, but if we know anything about Danganronpa, it's that never trust the first impression. See you after the anime finishes airing.